Well, Soini, it's the announcement of wage increases for May Day has become something of a tradition here in Venezuela, but this one was particularly important because of the very high inflation which is dramatically eroding workers' wages. And President Maduro made clear that it's always been a principle of the Bolivarian revolution to do what it can to protect workers' living standards and all Venezuelans' living standards. But this is in fact the 22nd time that President Nicolas Maduro has increased the minimum wage, and this one was really a big one. The basic minimum wage has gone up from slightly less than 400,000 bolivars a month to 1 million bolivars a month, and the food stamps, which is the other part that makes up most people's basic income, has gone up to 1.5 million bolivars a month. That means that the basic guaranteed minimum income now stands at 2.5 million bolivars a month. However, President Maduro also made clear that this simply isn't enough. This is a measure to protect people's wages as far as they can, but a more fundamental solution is required.
Ian, President Maduro spoke a lot about how his responsibility as president
he went on to say that what is really needed is to tackle this, what the government calls the economic war, which has been, as far as the government concerned, is pushing up inflation at these dramatic levels, essentially on the basis of a speculation that these are really artificial prices, but they are fundamentally undermining people's well-being. And he said he believes, and this Expo Venezuela 2018 event over the last few days has shown that Venezuela has everything it needs to have a healthy, productive economy. But in fact, just to make that clear, I visited the stand of a small company that's making quality sports shoes, football boots, other kinds of sports shoes, and selling them very successfully, including in parts of the Caribbean. And he said, this is the kind of thing that Venezuela can do and it needs to do if it's to develop a healthy economy. But he said what needs to be done first is to get through these elections, to win these elections on the 20th of May, and then dedicate everybody's efforts towards rebuilding a healthy economy in Venezuela. And interestingly, he said that also means restructuring the government. He said the government needs to be much more efficient, and one of the ways he wants to do this from the 1st of June, if he wins those elections on the 20th of May, is to go out into the streets, take his government into the streets. This is something they did some years ago, what they call government in the streets, to tackle the economic problems and develop this healthy, stable economy that can return some kind of normality to most Venezuelans' lives on a more stable and long-term basis.